Tonight, I'm going to share with you the most fundamental things I have learned about Judaism and the Jewish people over these past nearly 4 decades. I point these out to you with the hope that they will guide you and our beloved temple into the new year and far beyond. First, the centrality of Israel. Not long ago, I met with a newly engaged couple to go over the structure and content of the Jewish wedding ceremony. This ceremony crafted nearly 2,000 years ago. What did the Hebrew mean? How would I render the English translations? At which point the couple spoke up. Rabbi, we get that when the ceremony says the people of Israel, it means the Jewish people, because when these blessings were written, there was no state of Israel. But a lot of our friends are going to think you are talking about modern Israel. So we'd rather you not say Israel in our ceremony. This exchange confirmed a terrible truth. We are losing our children. We have been outflanked on college campuses and social media for decades by students for Palestine and others who are not students at all, but actually well-funded, well-trained professionals creating logical fallacies and outright lies about Israel. And more American Jews than we might want to believe have sipped our enemies' poison. To quote my friend Ami Hirsch, to turn against Israel, to join our ideological opponents and political enemies in castigating Zionism is a sign of Jewish illness, an atrophying of our intellectual and emotional commitment to our people. 8 decades ago, the world stood by while Nazis brought 6 million Jews to the ovens. Today, our enemies plan to bring the ovens to 7 million Jews on the tip of a missile. We often think of life as a series of good and bad choices, followed by good and bad outcomes. But for the Jewish people, life sometimes offers us not good or bad choices, but bad and worse choices. Golda Meir put it this way: if we have to have a choice between being dead and pitied or being alive with a bad image, we'd rather be alive and have the bad image. Sure, her point and mine lack nuance. Israel's choices are not always so binary, but sometimes they are. Is the current Israeli government inconsistent with some of our values? Yes. Throughout American history, can the same be said about our own government? Yes. Flawed leadership, even terribly flawed leadership, is not a reason to abandon Israel or our own country. It is a reason to engage more deeply and lovingly. Half the Jews in the world live in Israel, and more than half the Jewish babies born each year are born there. Israelis are our brothers and sisters. They are our Jewish future. They are our very bodies and souls. They and we are inexorably bound together. Modern Israel is the most vibrant renaissance of Jewish life, learning, culture, and aspirations ever. It is impossible to overstate what Israel means to Jews and to Judaism and what we mean to Israel. Full stop. So yes, Israel is vital to Judaism. But of course, Israel is not all of Judaism. Far from it. There are many fundamentally crucial aspects to the Jewish future that are much closer to home. They are about who we are, what we can be, and what we must never become. First, what to do about Jew hatred. It is heartbreaking when other marginalized minorities lash out at us when they too are among the persecuted. Nevertheless, we have to call them out. We have to starve them of support. We cannot abide the far right or the far left who blame their problems on us with ancient tropes and modern memes. They hate us, and we must face that hatred. But how? Vigilance? Yes. But being an anti-Semite is not the only or the best answer. In a world where it is increasingly acceptable to hate Jews, the single best thing, not the only thing, but the single best thing we can do is raise generation after generation of proud, educated, thinking, praying, loving, unapologetic, unambivalent, fearless Jews. Proud and fearless Jews. That is the best answer to Jew hatred. And we do not create proud Jews by perpetuating our own negative stereotypes. We joke about being neurotic and materialistic, about overbearing women and nerdy, cowardly men. We laugh. We laugh at our infighting. Everyone here knows the joke about the Jew on the deserted island who builds 2 synagogues, one he goes to and the one he would never set foot in. The rabbis claimed the Second Temple in Jerusalem fell in the year 70, not because of the Romans, but because of Jewish infighting. Jew against Jew is nothing to joke about. We are not weak. We are not hedonists. We are a strong, proud, generous, thoughtful, kind people, and there is great harm in presenting ourselves otherwise. Everything else I have to tell you tonight stands on only 3 pillars. For 2,000 years, the rabbis believed Jews and Judaism needed 3 pillars upon which to stand. If one is missing, we crumble. Now, you might not have noticed it, but our temple logo has those 3 pillars in Hebrew encircling an image of the rose window behind us. Those 3 pillars are Torah, Avodah, and Gimilut Chasadim. Torah. There is no aspect of the human condition unexplored by the sages in their poetry and debates and commandments and heavenly hopes. They knew how to live in a small community where people had to get along. They knew what it meant to face fear and plagues and floods and fires and violence. They regularly saw death at their doorstep. 2,000 years ago, half of all children didn't live to see their 5th birthday. Torah. Torah is what gave our people hope and light. We need Torah. And so does the world. One story says it all. After telling a billionaire potential donor who could change the destiny of our congregation with the stroke of a pen about our needs and dreams, he looked at me and he said, "Well, I am Jewish, but my religion is peace, love, and understanding. And my temple is the world." This is what I told him. And this is what I say to every Jew who cares about the world. I don't know everything about you, but I do know this. Every good thing you believe in, peace, love, and understanding, being an ethical business person, being a good son or daughter, father or mother, caring for the earth, not gossiping, treating other people the way you would like to be treated, reaching out to the hungry, the oppressed, the poor, the powerless, the frail, all of it and more. Every noble idea in Western civilization, every decent thing you can think of, comes directly from the Torah. You just don't know it. If we lose the Torah, we will eventually, maybe not in 1 or 2 or 3 generations, but we will eventually lose those most noble of ideas, those most cherished values that make us all who we ought to be. Maybe relying on American ideals severed from their rootedness in Torah would get us through if we lived in the America of Jefferson and Lincoln, Emerson and Thoreau, Brandeis and Irving Berlin. But we live in an America whose politics are coarse and petty, and whose cultural exemplars are Kanye and the Kardashians. Imagine a world without Torah. Without love your neighbor as yourself, without thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. Imagine a world without justice. Justice you shall pursue. Imagine a world without forgiveness. Without the pillar of Torah. No Jew and no decent society can stand for long. We need Torah, and the world needs Torah. The second pillar is avodah, which literally means both work and prayer. The word avodah is why we call our gathering here tonight and every time we pray together in shul a service. We are here to serve God. We are not here to implore God to serve us. Whenever the Torah says, and it often does, I am God, it is also saying, and you are not. You are not God. Call it prayer, spirituality, a daily practice. Call it whatever you want, but without acknowledging that there is a power, a oneness from which all things come and to which all things return, that there is a glory and a purpose and a meaning to existence. Without that humility and awe, we cannot stand. Arrogance will ruin us all. But avodah, a prayerful, humble life filled with gratitude and wonder, will grant us a beautiful, meaningful, rich life, come what may. The last pillar is Gemilut Chasadim, deeds of loving kindness. For without them, we, and really the entire world, are lost. But notice that Torah and Avodah come before Gemilut Chasadim, which most Jews now refer to as Tikkun Olam. I think this was the rabbi's way of telling us that it is important to uplift and soothe the suffering of others. But Tikkun Olam alone is not Judaism. It is universalism. Without Torah, without mitzvot, without standards and boundaries, without the acknowledgement of our human limitations, without awe and wonder and gratitude, Judaism is not a religion. It's deli and a well-meaning social club. Hence, and finally, the synagogue. Our synagogue. For 2,000 years, people have tried to find a better way than the synagogue to make Jews. And for 2,000 years, they have failed. The synagogue is the engine of Judaism. Look what we have done together. Our temple, our schools, our camps, our car centers east and west, our campuses east and west, and now further west. Look what we have done. We have grown rabbis and cantors, educators and philanthropists. We give parents a place to choose a better Jewish education for their children than they themselves received when they were young. Hundreds of converts, tens of thousands of our needy neighbors help to live healthier, better lives in a place where sadly so many go hungry or without diapers for their babies or anyone to care about their eyes, their teeth, their legal problems, their mental health, and more. What we have done together is an exceptional exception. But we can do so much more. We can reach and inspire so many more Jews. And the good news is,